कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन जमुनातीरावनचारी जमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन जमुनातीरावनचारी जमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय मिष्पाद परमहंस परिव्राज श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा माधव गोपीनाथ श्याम कंद राधाकंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन श्री मथुरा धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। संग वीर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from Sri Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 11, entitled King Indra Annihilates the Demons. Text 6 and 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Text 7 is on the board. Shri Baliruvacha Sangrame Vartamananam Sangrame Vartamananam Kala Chodita Kamanam Kala Chodita Kamanam Kirti Jayo Jayo Mrityu Kirti Jayo Jayo Mrityu Sarvasham Shu Anukramat Sarvasham Shur Anukramat Shri Balayeru Vacha Sangrame Vatamananam Kala Chodita Kamanam Kirti Jayo Jayo Mrityur Sarvasham Shur Anukramat Shri Baleru Vacha Sangrame Vatamananam Kala Chodita Karmanam Kirti Jayo Jayo Mrityur Sarvasham Shu Anukramat. Kala Chodita Karmanam. Thank you. Mataji. Hare Vacha. Mataji. Hare Vacha. Sangrame Vatamananam Kala Chodita Karmanam Iti jayo jayo metya Sarvesham Shri Anukrama. Mataji. Shivale Uracha Sangrame Vatamananam Kalachorite Kamanam Iti Jaya Jaya Mitya Sarvasham Shri Anukramat Shri Balir Uvacha Sangrame Vatamananam Kalachorita Karmanam Kiti Jaya Jaya Mitya Sarvasham Shur Anukramat Shri Baliru Vacha Sangrame Vatamananam Kalachorita Karmanam Kirti Jayo Jayo Mitya Sarvashamshu Anukramat Shibali Ubhacha. Bali Maharaj said, Sangrame, in the battlefield, Vatmananam, of all persons present here, Kala Chodita, influenced by the course of time, Kamanam, for persons engaged in fighting or any other activities. Kirti, reputation. Jaya, victory. Ajaya, defeat. Mrityu, death. Sarvesham, all of them. Shu, must be done. Anukramat, one after another. Translation. Bali Maharaj replied, all those present on this battlefield are certainly under the influence of eternal time, and according to their prescribed activities, they are destined to receive fame, victory, defeat, and death, one after another. Please repeat. Bali Maharaj replied, all those present on this battlefield are certainly under the influence of eternal time, and according to their prescribed activities, they are destined to receive fame, victory, defeat, and death, one after another. Purport by Zavangari C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder-Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If one is victorious on the battlefield, he becomes famous. And if one is not victorious, but is defeated, he may die. Both victory and defeat are possible. Whether on such a battlefield as this or on the battlefield of the struggle for existence. Everything takes place according to the laws of nature. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. Since everyone without exception is subject to the modes of material nature, whether one is victorious or defeated, he is not independent, but is under the control of material nature. Bali Maharaj, therefore, was very sensible. He knew that the fighting was arranged by eternal time, and that under time's influence, one must accept the results of one's own activities. Therefore, even though Indra threatened that he would now kill Bali Maharaj by releasing the thunderbolt, Bali Maharaj was not at all afraid. This is the spirit of a Kshatriya, Yudheya chapla yavanam. Right. Yudhi chapala yanam. Bhagavad Gita 1843. A Kshatriya must be tolerant in all circumstances, especially on the battlefield. Thus, Bali Maharaj asserted that he was not at all afraid of death, although he was threatened by such a great personality as the King of Heaven. End of purport. Om Agyanantandasya Gyananganasrakaya Chakshurunidhamne Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamit Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nevishesha Shandavari Vasatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Text 6. Soham Damayanas Tedya Vrajena Sataparvana Shireuhashi Mandatman Gatasva Jatibi Saha. Translation. Indra speaking. Today with my thunderbolt, which has hundreds of sharp edges, I, the same powerful person, shall sever your head from your body. Although you can produce so much jugglery through illusion, you are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge. Now, try to exist on this battlefield with your relatives and friends. Ali Maharaj replied, all those present on this battlefield are certainly under the influence of eternal time, and according to their prescribed activities, they are destined to receive fame, victory, defeat and death, one after another. It says Indra didn't become angry, because Bali's talking philosophy here, and it says before he was composed and sober. On the battlefield, it's a very precarious situation, especially if you're facing Indra, where he has an invincible thunderbolt weapon. So there's good chances you're not going to make it with your life. So you can be a little philosophical at that time. Is the best thing to be, actually. But in any case, he wasn't afraid, and that's the quality, as Srila Prabhupada mentions from Bhagavad Gita, that the chivalry, the bravery, and the not running away from battle. That is one of the qualities of the Kshatriya. So here, of course, although Indra wasn't angry at the reply, because he was speaking the truth, Indra was, going to get on with the battle anyway, and they both were. So we're hearing this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, in the middle of a battle, just like Srimad Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the middle of a battle. So it says there's no material impediment for spiritual advancement. That from any circumstances one can perform devotional service to Krishna. From many circumstances one can act on the spiritual platform. So there's great examples here, because we may think it's difficult in Kali Yuga, but on the battlefield it's very difficult. Everyone is very, very aware, alert that it could be your last time. Life has a lot of meaning now, because it can be your last moments to appreciate. And everyone is insecure. That's why there's a slogan in the West that there are no atheists in the foxholes, in the trenches, when they dig the trenches. It says in the trenches there are no atheists, because if you stick your head up or get up, you may get shot off. So you have there's no shelter, right? You've got one little something, one little gun, and the army out on the other side is a very good chance. So you've got to think of something else beside, you got to think a little deeply, generally, about the meaning of existence. It probably, you have a lot of realizations at that time, I would imagine. When one becomes very close to death, one can even sometimes perceive the supersoul, when death is practically imminent. I've heard that. So Bali's like that. He's got to face Indra's thunderbolt, but he's not afraid, and he's and he's going to go on with the fight. Baliraj is a Mahajan, one we take advice from. He is he may not be the caliber of Prahlad. He's also a Mahajan. Of course, difficult to say in the Srimad Bhagavatam. All these heroes and demons also. Everyone is. It means everyone is. If you got your name in the Bhagavatam, you're extraordinary. It's not an ordinary thing. And it's more or less Leela, arranged by the Lord, so the Bhagavatam can be narrated and given to us. This is the history. The Srimad Bhagavatam is called the spotless history, because we're in these stories are all concerning the Lord and his relationships with his devotees and non-devotees also. That's what the Srimad Bhagavatam is. Therefore, it's considered the Amala Purana. So sometimes the other Puranas, they will cheat you, but the Srimad Bhagavatam will not cheat you. It'll give the direct, the truth. That did every living entity is eternal, parcel of Krishna. That's the truth, and we should remember Krishna. This is the first rule. Always remember Krishna. All the rules are meant to support this rule of always remembering Krishna, never forget Krishna. So Bhagavatam is always remembering Krishna. It's always bringing in. It's all bringing in Krishna samavada, but generally because people having problems. Like in this section we've been reading in this canto, lots of problems, lots of fights. There's already been the fight with the demons and the demigods, and the demons were powerful. They went, all the demigods, they go to Lord Brahma, what to do? Let's go to Vishnu. They're too powerful. If someone's more powerful than the demigods, then there's only Brahma and Shiva and Vishnu to go to. So they go to Lord Brahma because they're the most powerful. And he says, you go to the Lord. So then the Lord comes in the pastime again. They all go to the Lord. And he said, he gives them a plan. You make a truce. You can't beat them at the moment. You make a truce. We'll churn the nectar. We'll combine together. We'll call a truce. Have a pact. We'll churn the nectar. Then we'll all get the nectar of immortality. So great idea. Okay, we'll do that. The demons say. Anyway, we've got the demigods on the run. When the nectar comes, we'll just take it. They're weaker than us. That was their ambition. So then the Lord tells them how to do it. They carry the Mount Mount Mandara, it's too heavy, it squashes, so many die, they all get squished and squashed. Then the Lord comes again, he comes into the scene, picks it up, left hand, as usual, puts it on the back of Garuda. All the demons, all the demigods are squashed. Here the Lord comes. So just to show the superiority of the Lord's actual position, that he's actually transcendental to material nature. Weight doesn't mean anything to the Lord. So he can lift a mountain easily. It's his energy, it works under his direction. He can tell it to lift up by itself. It'll lift up by itself if he wants to. But because he's acting like a person, then he picks it up effortlessly. And then even Garuda, who's a bird carrier, he carries it on his back. Then they begin churning. Of course, it sinks. Mountains do that. So then the Lord again he appears, as a Kashyap tortoise. That time he had an itch on his back, right in the center of the back. It's difficult to reach. Right? So then he appears as a turtle. He lifts the mountain up, and they churn it, and he's feeling very nice. And then he appears on top of the mountain also. So many times we get in his association, his darshan. And then they're getting tired, so the Lord, he appears among them and helps them pull it even. Then the nectar, the Lord appears, incarnates as Dandantari, brings the nectar. The demons snatch it, run away. Demigods are morose, what to do now? Go to Vishnu. Vishnu, okay. Don't worry, be calm. I'll resolve your problem again. So then he appears as Mohini Murti, bewilders them. And so much knowledge we're getting from these conversations and the stories and the instructions we're receiving, which are pertinent for us. So Mohini bewilders them, feeds it to the demigods. Demons come very angry again, they attack. The demigods are getting beaten, even though they've got the nectar of immortality, they've drunk that. They're getting beaten. Then, what's happening? Lord, Vishnu, please. Then he comes again. He takes part in the battle, kills the demons. And they're victorious again. Then they bring the Sukacharya and Brihaspati. They bring them. The Lord brings all the demigods back to life, and Sukacharya brings back the demons to life. He's a guru with the Sanjeevani. So, and Bali was practically dead. Anyway, they revived him. He stayed there in the place with his guru. And the descendants of Bhrigu, it says the Brahmins, they blessed him. And he stayed with them for some time. And they blessed him with all kinds of weapons and things like that. So he became very powerful. And they gave him their blessings. So again, they became very strong. Again, they attacked Indra, Loka. Indra's afraid. Look at this, like an ocean coming. This army is huge. What can we do? Quickly go to Vishnu again. Lord, help us. Payimam. Lord, you can't do anything now. These are too strong. They've got the Brahmins' blessings now. You can't do much about that. You'd have to wait. You have to wait till they displease the Brahmins. Just like Indra displeased the Brahmins. He gave his Brihaspati gave his garland to Indra on the elephant, and Indra was intoxicated as normal, with wealth and beauty and surroundings, and he's the king, and everyone's worshipping him. It's so luxurious. There's no problems, and you forget. You forget. You think everything's nice. Nature of Maya. When everything's nice here, we forget often the actual purpose of life. And so what to speak of the heavenly planets? And there are no problems on the heavenly planets. These problems, these wars and that, they happen every hundreds and thousands of years in between. Otherwise it's usually fantastic there. And one gets carried away, like everything's nice, and forgets, the purpose of life and how you got that position in the first place. So he gives the garland to his elephant, puts it on his trunk. Elephant throws it down and squishes it. The Brihaspati walks away. Okay, you made a guru aparad. So that time, then Sukacharya told, now's the time. They made an offense to their guru. Now they won't have that protection. Now you can attack. So then he's promising. Then Vishnu says, now you can't do it. You got the blessings of the Brahmanas, and Vishnu won't go against the words of the Brahmanas. He has to uphold them. He's Dharmaraj. So even from advising the demons, he said, you go where you disappear. They take demigods. They're so powerful. They have these different siddhis, so they can appear. They can go smaller than the smallest and hide, or they can change their forms. Indra is so powerful, he can transfer his karma to somebody else. So they can transfer their forms, be something, and then they can go and hide somewhere, be incognito. So that'll be in the coming chapters, and then it starts with Aditi. Aditi, the mother, she's the mother of the demigods. So then she asking her husband, Kashyap, I am so unhappy. It's not like it used to be anymore. When my sons were here, now they're all disappeared, they're all gone away, and it was so nice when they were here, and now we're suffering so much because the demons have taken over. We should be there. It's meant for the demigods. So he says, okay. He said, well, they got there by the Brahman Tejas. You can't do anything. There's only one thing you can do. Only Vishnu, as usual. He's the only one who can resolve this. So I'll give you a program of how to worship Vishnu, and ask him. So she does that. She becomes a little purified, and and then the Lord agrees to come as her son, Vamandev. And then Vamandev tricked Bali. And he squished him down. As he promised later, that wait till the demons offend their guru, then you can be strong. So Bali offended his guru, Shukacharya. Shukacharya said, don't give charity to this boy, that's Vishnu. He's come to cheat you. He said, well, I've already given my word, and anyway, he's Vishnu. If he's Vishnu, then what is it? He said, don't do it. If you disobey the order of your guru, you go to the hell. But he did it. He surrendered unto Vamandev, Vishnu. So therefore he had to go to hell. The Brahman's words cannot go in vain. So he went down to Sutal. Krishna squished him down there. But because he actually surrendered to Vishnu, then Vishnu went down with him, and he stayed as a chokidar on his planet outside his place, so he could have darshan whenever he wanted. So still, so you see, going backwards and forwards, sometimes there's victory, sometimes defeat. But all that, if it's not Leela of the Lord, as a lot of this is, then it's just due to one's particular karma, one particular destiny. Maybe they're meant to be eternally here, because Bali talks like a pure devotee many times. And but still he's still in the material world. Maybe like the Pandavas, they're eternal associates in the material world. I guess they must have some spiritual counterpart. But maybe it's like this, because Bali seems to be a pure devotee sometimes. Or maybe it's because of Prahlad, all these maybe speculations. Prahlad Maharaj, his great-grandfather, he is a pure devotee, no doubt. So in 19 generations or 21 generations, they all get liberated backwards and forwards. So he's only 2 generations, possibly, if he was born in that dynasty. And but he's not going back to Godhead, not just yet. And even after this, in the next Manvantara, you know what position Bali gets? Yeah, he becomes Indra. Lord gives him the post of Indra. I don't know what Indra gets. So he's saying here, everyone according to their destiny, influence of eternal time, you're destined to receive fame, victory, defeat, death, one after another. So we see this is going on in these battles. Sometimes they're on top, sometimes they're defeated, sometimes they're victorious, sometimes they're defeated, sometimes they're killed, sometimes they're brought back to life, one after another. It'll be more esoteric in the next verse also, the spiritual side. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport that everything takes place according to the laws of material nature, ordinarily. So, and this shloka from the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti Kriyamanani, that this the bewildered living entity, he thinks himself the doer of activities where in actual fact they're carried out by the material modes. And that only the modes of nature are moving. But the bewildered soul, he thinks himself the doer of activities. Prabhupada said he doesn't know behind the mechanism of this material world or the body. This is the Supreme Lord's control. Because it's his earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and ahankara. He says they're my energies. And they work under my control. But we think it works under our control, so we're very intimately connected with this body by the false ego. But of course the only way we can express ourselves is through the means of this material body, which we're not. And we have these different senses, and some of the senses are for acquiring knowledge. So the senses are actually only means to express ourselves. The only means for spiritual emancipation, to become free from the material world. We're stuck with the senses. We have to work with whatever we got up to the intellect until realization comes. But for all intents and purposes, mainly we are the body. Right? When you wake up in the morning, you're the body, right? No doubt. Intellectually we understand we're not the body, but for all intents and purposes, when it's 9 after class, we'll all go and eat. Everyone, practically, without fail, will go to eat something because there'll be a need, and if that need is not met, there'll be a difficulty. So sometimes we have this realization or these feelings, but it's difficult to hold. It's difficult to hold this perception that you're not actually the body and you're not actually the doer. Because it's a living entity desire that promotes the action. It promotes the material energy to work under the Lord's direction. He's the director as a super soul sitting next. He's observing our activities, and also he's communicating our desires to the demigods who are manipulating the material energy, so that we can experience what we're supposed to experience, the happiness and distress, or the victory and defeat, which comes all the time, just out the day. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're not so happy. So, but that's all coming due to our previous pious and impious activities. But we think it's because of our movements, because we made this choice, then that result came. So it's my endeavor that I got that particular choice. So in one sense, it's right. In one sense, we did endeavor, we did desire to do it, thinking, feeling, and willing. That means endeavor, and that's going to be motivated by desire. Think about something, you get a feeling for it, then you desire, then you will it to happen. The will means that extra. You're going to make an endeavor, and then the mechanism kicks in. The subtle mechanism kicks in, and the demigods start to move the robot, the body, and you're allowed as much access to the mind and the intellect and the identity as Krishna permits, according to our adhikar. So we have a certain amount of, I would say freedom, because it's actually we're always controlled, whether victorious or defeated. It mentions here we're always controlled. Since everyone without exception is subject to the modes of material nature, whether one is victorious or defeated, he is not independent, but is under the control of material nature. But we'll rejoice when we get something nice, but actually we think that was good, that was a good move, but actually it was the demigods arranging the whole situation, because we had to experience the results of our pious activities. We had to experience some enjoyment. If we see karma as a in terms of enjoying and suffering, basically, because the whole existence is really about enjoyment, both in the spiritual and the material world. Krishna desires to enjoy and expands himself. And when someone desires to enjoy separately from Krishna, then he expands as a material world and puts us there until we give up that desire to enjoy independently. So then from the material perspective, when we're working on the material perspective, it's still the Lord that is doing everything as a super soul. He's advising the demigods, who are his parts and parcels. They're also made of his energy, and he's given them in knowledge, intelligence, remembrance, and forgetfulness also, to a greater degree than the humans, than the conditioned souls, especially the big demigod, the actual controllers, 33 crores. He's given that ability to administer the material energy on his behalf. So everyone is actually controlled. So and also there's demigods. They're thinking that they're also the doers, just like Indra, thinking he's the doer, and the demons are thinking they're the doers. And Bali's just pointing out here. He's becoming a little transcendental. He said, you're talking very nicely, but everyone here on the battlefield is gonna suffer victory or defeat according to destiny, according to time, according to your karma. You may talk as much as you like, but it's not dependent on how much you talk, or your prowess, or your thunderbolt weapon. It's dependent on something else. That result will happen. It will come for sure. Whatever you do, you act this way or that way. We cannot stop the material result, the karma, from coming. So Indra appreciated that, but still he was going to win the battle. That was his intention, and Bali wasn't going to desist because you're swept away by Maya. There's no control. There's no. In one sense, you're swept away. Of course, it says there's no actual force of Maya. Maya is just presenting a situation, but sometimes it's so overwhelming that we we just have to go with it. That's our experience. But it's not actually, we're not actually, we could say no. We could do something, we could say something differently. So that's the, but if you have an alternative, which is what Krishna gives and these devotees give, and the demons also in their instructions, demons like Bali, they give these alternative to the mind's desires. I like this, I don't like that. This is good, this is bad. That's the mind's function. This is good, this is bad. Let me get that. Let me get away from this. That's all that goes on with the mind, more or less. So then he's experiencing. The mind is also experiencing. The mind and the heart are synonymous. So experiencing is done in the mind, and the feeling is done in the mind. So, but that's all it is. It's just, Srila Prabhupada says, you're hovering over the material energy. The mind just think, I like this, I don't like that. This is good, this is bad. This way, that way. So that's how we are forced. And you have to act. Krishna says, more or less, you have to act according to your nature. But the acting should be done with a higher intelligence, or intelligence that is coming from the Guru's scripture. Then we have an alternative. Then we don't have to just follow our own mind. We can follow Krishna's mind. We can follow the mind of Guru. That takes surrender, which is difficult to do. But this is the alternative that is being offered here in the Bhagavatam, in all these instructions. There's no need for there's no need of thinking that we're going to control and enjoy the situation, because even if you think you are, and even if you work hard for it, you're not going to enjoy control or enjoy any more than what you're supposed to. Control maybe, the enjoyment's going to will be whatever's destined you will get, not more, not less. But it doesn't mean, okay, we just sit down and do nothing. Who can do it? So therefore, you act as a demon, or you act as a devata, and then you have to play the roles. And when it's time for battle, they have your swadharmas, your rules for living in the material world. Both the demons and the demigods, they follow rules. Swadharma. So that when the demons become powerful, they start to make their own programs. But the demigods will remain faithful to the Lord's program. But that chastity to the Lord's programs, which offers them that situation to remain in the heavenly planets, it's not pure. It's not devotion. It's not pure devotion. Although they're chaste to the Lord, but they're enjoying that position because no one's asking to go back to Godhead here. Vishnu has come many times in this situation, and then he leaves. He goes back. No one asks, "Please take us back with you." They're both playing to get control of the material universe. They both want the big job, the big position, and the facility that goes with it. And we're devotees. So what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But you're saying, except from the spiritual perspective, then you're missing out. But if you're not experiencing the spiritual atmosphere, then life is okay. If you don't know anything better, then life is fine. Right? That's why everyone's in the material world is tolerant. Because everyone wants a better situation in the material world. But even up here, we're talking about the higher planets. We heard these descriptions, so wonderful. And the life is really nice there. There's no problems. But still, relatively speaking to the bliss of the spiritual world, in a relationship with the Lord, then it's insignificant. It's insignificant. Just agitating the material senses and getting the adrenaline running and the feeling. It's very, very low class happiness compared with the spiritual happiness, the Ananda there, Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. But if you don't know that what kind of happiness is there, then this is great. So you go wherever, if you're and because you're getting it in the heavenly planets, nobody wants to leave the heavenly planets. Nobody's interested in moving on from there. So this is the middle planet system is not so good. So this is a better place for going back to Godhead than the heavenly planets. Although the heavenly planets, geographically speaking, should be much closer. But it's not very suitable for going back to Godhead because it's so nice. Who would want to leave such a place? It's nice. It's so nice. But and sometimes I see the Lord. But the Lord reciprocates according to their devotion. So you see, when the devotees see the Lord, and then the hairs stand on their end, and the tears come to their eyes, and their body trembles, and their voice chokes up, and they're feeling so much love. But the demigods, they feel really excited when they see the Lord. Now we're sure to win. We're sure to get our position back. We're sure to come out on top. So they're still using the Lord for their own position. And so then the Lord appears like that. He appears as a supreme controller and the Lord of justice, and He can reward you, fulfill your desires. So that's what kind of Lord they say. So this is what we're taking from the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the actual vision of the devotees or the seers? How they just see that within the vision of the Bhagavad Gita that we're not only seeing the body, but within the body the Lord is there. So therefore we should be respectful to everyone. The living entity is there along with the super soul. Therefore we can pay obeisances. Prabhu said, if you recognize that the Lord is everywhere, you can worship a blade of grass. So that's also God consciousness. If you're appreciating the Lord within that blade of grass, because He's everywhere, and He's fulfilling, and He's arranging for all our necessities of life, and He's arranging that we meet our dues, our previous karmas. It's all going on under His direction. But still, one has to take a position in the material world, even with that vision. Also in the Bhagavad Gita it says, for the self-realized soul, there's no duty to perform. If you understand these facts, if you're consistently seeing like that, then there's no need to do anything, right? You just got to wait till you leave your body and go back. But it says no, he has no reason to act. He has no reason not to act, that person with that vision. So therefore, he acts anyway, because he's not bound by the activity, but he acts in such a way as to set an example for those who don't have that vision. It means he'll follow scripture generally. He'll follow proper dharma to teach others in general. So it's not that you don't. You still got to carry on, but with this higher consciousness. Then you can be indifferent to the comings and goings, the pleasures and pains, and the ups and the downs of life. You can be indifferent to it because you know it's going to come anyway. Adhyatmic, Adhidevik, Adhibhautik, you can't stop that. So if we see it when it comes, that's how it is. If it wasn't this person, it would be this calamity, it would be the weather, or it would be some sickness or something else. If it wasn't this flu, it would be, some other. If it wasn't, it's going to come. So you just have to. As long as we're in the body, then you have to wait for your 80 years or 100 years till you give it up. And whatever's destined will come and go. Of course, if you surrender to the Lord, He can change it. It's under His control. But in normal terms, and even the great devotees talk like that, because of my previous sinful activities, I am like this. So we don't know whether it's karma or Krishna's grace. and the pure devotees also speak in such a way. Although it's for the pure devotees, it's Krishna says they come directly under his divine energy. So, Bali Maharaj, great soul, he's saying, all these present on the battlefield are certainly under illusion of eternal time, and according to the prescribed activities, they are destined to receive fame, victory, defeat, and death, one after another. Talk as much as you like. This is what was happening. He'll tell Indra. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. A question?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class. And I'm not sure if I understood well. If I understood, then I have a question. I got that Bali Maharaj in another life had, in another Manvantar, he had to take birth as Indra. So if this is like that, how is that the Mahajan takes birth again and not as a perfect devotee as far as I can understand, but as an Indra? How is that happening?
I don't know. He wanted the post of Indra. He wanted to defeat the demigod. So he got, because he's a devotee, then Krishna will fulfill it. Next Manvantara. It says the Lord offered him the post in the next Manvantara. He got that. He gave it to Bali. So different Mahajans, but what he's saying is all good stuff. Huh? Well, he lived for a long time. He had to stay here for a long time. Yeah, he promised that you can enjoy like anything, and in the end you can go back. But it's difficult. Characters in the Bhagavatam, they're not, they could be eternal associates of the Lord also, and coming here to play like that. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else knows of the history of Bali, or who he is. Because I mentioned, like the Pandavas, they're eternal associates of the Lord, but they always stay in the universe, in the material universe. But they have spiritual bodies somewhere. Ajam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just a comment on the question, and then if I may ask you a question. Indra's a post, so Bali Maharaj, you're assuming he changes his body, but my understanding is he doesn't change his body. After giving up the reign down there, he transfers to the post of Indra. Same person, same form. That's my understanding. Like Ashvatthama becomes Vyasadeva. It's not that he changes his body, he just takes on the service, the post. That's my understanding.
He doesn't change his body?
No, not. That's my understanding.
Okay.
And my question is, when a couple, 3 times you said it's very difficult, and I couldn't help but hoping to hear, you remember Srila Prabhupada saying, what is the difficulty? So do you mind expounding just a little bit how we can become convinced of the optimistic, what is the difficulty, or despite the difficulty remaining progressively growing in the way we should?
No, that's our challenge. It is difficult to always remember Krishna. That's our experience. But why should it be difficult? He's everywhere, he's everything. There's nothing but Krishna, right? So why should it be difficult not to remember him? He's everywhere. You can't be separate from him. So why should it be difficult to always remember him? But it's difficult to always remember him. we get involved in something and we become the doers and we're working for some result and then we're attracted, this is nice, let's go that way, the senses go that way, and then something nasty, we want to go the other way. Those times we're not remembering Krishna. And even if we are, we're going against him. There's only two choices, right? You can serve Krishna or yourself, external energy. So even sometimes we even though it's wrong, because we're following by rule, we're not going by realization. Even if it's wrong, we'll go there, even though we shouldn't. So we're remembering Krishna, but we're not following what he says.
So how does one overcome that? That's the real question.
So
it's not difficult for some, but
why do you go? Yeah, it's difficult for some. It depends on their adhika. Why do you go there? Because there's shelter or there's happiness. We're thinking. There's only two things we're going for, right? A better situation or happiness. So we think that becomes more prominent than that becomes more because of our addiction to missing security and happiness. Then we'll override Krishna's instruction. We think this is more important than Krishna's instruction. So even if you know it's wrong, you're going to go there. You're not forgetting Krishna. But it says the senses are so impetuous and strong, they forcibly carry away. But still, we're agreeing to go. Even the senses are so strong, Maya is overwhelming, it's irresistible, but still we're saying yes. We could say no. That freedom of choice is coming from us. We're saying yes. Even if we're remembering Krishna, even if it's a no-go, the mind says yes sometimes. That's why we condition souls. Addicted.
I suppose the reason why I'm asking is because, thank goodness, Krishna doesn't leave us at that point, that it's difficult. He takes us beyond that to where we can end up at his lotus feet, and that's what I was hoping, that maybe you could give some encouragement or direction to overcome the difficulty. You can leave it where you want, but that's why I was asking the question, that are you going to leave it here with, I'm going to walk out here going, God dang, this is really hard. I hope not.
So we're trying to follow in the footsteps of those devotees. It's there, the opportunity is there at every moment. But it's difficult because we don't want to stay there. It's easy. Maya's easier.
Can we take some note of optimism because it's becoming less difficult? Surely some of us can express that. It's becoming less difficult, so I can be optimistic that it will become progressively so if I continue.
Well, it's as difficult as you want it to be. The more you're attached, then the more it hurts when you have to let it go. Now, in the interim period, this anantha-nivritti period, see, we don't have the higher taste. So we're just acting on intelligence. So it means, and you have your particular adhikar, but it's your intelligence, your understanding of scripture, and your determination. These are the things that are actually keeping you under the shelter of Krishna's feet or the instructions. But there's no taste there. This is coming from the intelligence and your ability and your peer pressure and your culture. That is stopping us from the senses from going where they want to go. We have these restrictions. We've made these vows to follow. But as Krishna says, you give up. You may restrain the senses from the sense objects, but the desire is still there. Because of our previous experience, there's some relief, there's some happiness, and that's what we're looking for. So we're finding that in that's our experience. And now, if it's a no go, then you have to say no. But the mind, this is what we're looking for. This is why we're going to Krishna. Unless we're pure unalloyed devotees, we're going to Krishna for the same thing: relief and happiness, comfort and happiness. Otherwise, unless you're an unalloyed devotee. So these are the alloys: this desire for security and happiness, or karma and gyan. Gyan is release, and karma is happiness. So until you're actually free from those two things, by constant practice and the higher taste, Krishna says, until when you want to experience a higher taste, then it's easy. So when you get to ruchi, then it's easy. These are not a problem anymore, because it's available. But now there's no alternative. If you want to feel relief, you want to feel happiness, there's no guarantee you're going to get it from reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or associating with devotee, or taking prasad, or doing kirtan. There's no guarantee it'll be there. The bliss will be there. Sometimes there is. Many times there is. But still, Maya pays off immediately, right? Maya is there. If we know there's relief, we can escape. We can turn the light off and lay in bed, escape, and there's pleasure there. We can whatever way we want to get pleasure. We know the process. We're self-realized, right? Self-realization. We have that because we've been practicing all our lives. So it works. It's quick. So we have more faith in Maya than Krishna, because Maya pays up immediately. Krishna says, "Okay, I'll give. Don't worry, I'll give you. You follow, I'll give. I'll get you something better." He's not saying when. So I'll give you something better. When? So because we're impatient and we're addicted to missing pleasure. I mean, we're addicted to. We don't like this abstaining from pleasure and security. It's an addiction. The junkie, is not easy. You can tell him you're an addict. I know I'm an addict. It's bad for you. I know it's bad for your health. Yeah, it's going to ruin your life. I know it. But still, you haven't resolved the problem. He's still an addict, and he's still going to have it, right? Somehow or other. So that's the condition. We have that condition in there. We're addicted to. So it's as hard as easy as you want it to be. So that's why it's determination, toleration, patience, and just it is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. This is a Vaidhi. There's a rule. You didn't follow just stay under shelter of the rule. That's your only help. That's your only option. You just got to use the faculty of intelligence and ability that you have to stay under accept what's favorable for Krishna consciousness and reject what's unfavorable. That's easy. Once we know what's favorable, what's unfavorable, then you have to apply it. That's easy. But it's not easy. Why is it anartha nivritti? Why is it this interim period? Why is this struggle going on? Because of that attachment is there. But once you've crossed over that by being tolerant, patient, and steadfast, and having faith, then it gets to nishta, and then it's ruchi, then it's all downhill. Then your problem is solved. So we're following the footsteps of those devotees who are there. I'm praying for their mercy. It does. I mean, relatively speaking, it's quick. I mean, look what we've done in the last 40 years. What was you doing since 40 years or 50 years, and what you're doing now? I mean, it's 360 degrees almost. Our lives have transformed so much. But how many lives have we been? Billions and billions of lives. We can't count. So transformation is quick. Right? When you go back to your old place where you came from before you was a devotee, then you realize, you've changed. You realize you're different. But moment by moment, it's hard to perceive. Just like you can't perceive how your hair is growing or your fingernails are growing. Then on the Kadasi, you see, I should have cut them yesterday. It seems it's a gradual process. Hare Krishna. That's the last question.
There is certain things that seem to take a long time to go. Why does Krishna doesn't take them away? We're crying to Krishna, please just take these anarthas away for maybe 40 years, someone, That's what you're saying in the class, and some of us maybe for a few years. And Krishna doesn't take them away.
Louder.
Why doesn't Krishna take away certain anarthas faster?
Why doesn't he take it away faster?
Yeah.
No, you have billions and billions of births you've been here. Billions of births you've been running after Maya. And now look, in only 40 years you've completely changed. It's nothing. It's a few fraction of, from Krishna's angle of vision, the whole universal thing is only half a breath. From our angle it looks like a long time. But it's not. But he can do it. He can do it anytime. Right? But the thing is, we're praying to pure devotion, right? This is what we want. We're praying to Krishna. So, this is one reason why Krishna doesn't give it quickly. Because why are we praying to Krishna for pure devotion? It's not really out of love for Krishna. It's that the main thing is that we get out of the material world and go back and enjoy happily ever after in the kingdom of God. So there's two desires are still there: the desire for security in the spiritual world and the desire for happiness, the bliss of the spiritual world. They're still there, and we're not doing it for Krishna's happiness. We're doing it for our own pleasure. So that a lie is still there. So therefore, Krishna, he gives you a little bliss. He gives you some enthusiasm, gives you some bliss, and then he withdraws it. Then he gives you a little, even as a bhakta, you get it, right? Bliss. Ananda, abhava, you get it as a bhakta. And then he withdraws it. Then he gives it, but he keeps you waiting. Then you say, now you know it's there, because you've tasted it, then you have faith that the process works, and you can't leave, you can't go anywhere else now, because you've experienced this for real. But he doesn't give it as regularly and as much as we want. We would like it. Because we still think we're the doers and the controllers. So he wants, if you want to be a pure, unalloyed devotee, you've got to get rid of this mentality. You're not the kata, you're not this fierce hankara, this in Bhagavad Gita says, very ferocious hankara, the idea that you're the doer, the controller, and that by my endeavor to worship Krishna, I will achieve that. I have faith that Krishna will get me exactly what I want, better than anyone else. I will have a position, a beautiful position, so comfortable, so happy. This is our mentality, unless we're pure unalloyed devotees. So Krishna's trying to purify that. So therefore he delays the vision. He delays that union in a big way, in a consistent way. So it makes you more, but he gives a little drop. He gives a little drop now and again that makes you more anxious to get it. So then and then you've got the process of the gradual process you go through from A to Z, and the mechanical process, spiritual mechanical process, of where it leads up to intense greed for Krishna. And then Krishna shows himself, and then you feel so much more happiness. And then Krishna disappears again. So then that greed increases, because now you've tasted more happiness than you've tasted ever before. But Krishna disappears. So now that separation increases also. and you can't do anything about it. You love him more than ever, and he's not appearing. So then you feel terrible. So then the humility comes in. Then he appears again. Then it's so ecstatic, more the happiness than you've ever experienced before. Then he goes away. There's more distress than you've experienced before, and there's nothing you can do about it. Therefore, you feel helpless. This way it goes on. And when you're feeling helpless, then you're a candidate. You realize, we are dependent. I am dependent on Krishna's mercy. It's not my endeavor. So that keeping you waiting, Krishna's keeping his darshan waiting, is a way to purify that false ego that you are the doer. It's dependent on your activity that Krishna's... No, it's not. It's dependent on his mercy. So he'll appear when you're really serious. It means when you're feeling helpless, then he has to come, because you're his devotee. But if you don't feel helpless, if you still think it's depending on me, then Krishna, okay, it depends on you. Do you do it? If it depends on you, you do it. So when you realize you can't do it, then you've got no option but to cry. You're doing the best you can. It's not enough. Krishna's not appearing. Then you can just cry. Then Krishna's bound to come. But that feeling of helplessness is a prerequisite. But we don't feel helpless. We still think, whatever we think. So that's why he does it. Because you're asking for pure unalloyed devotion. So Sri Krishna says, this is my process of getting rid of the hankara, the false ego, the idea that you are the controlling joy. This is how I do it. I give you a little taste and then withdraw it, a little more, withdraw it. Till you fall in love with me, and then you can't get me, then you're helpless. You go crazy without me. Krishna, please, I need your mercy. I have to have your mercy. Then you realize you're actually dependent on Krishna. That's the way he does it. Quick. Having said that, it's you don't see many prema bhaktas around. Let's face it. But in Mahaprabhu's land, then you've done some service, sincere service. In your next birth, you take that. You get birth where Krishna's appearing, and Bhumi. In Bhumi Vrindavan, and you get all those perfections at that time. You get that bhava, the sthāyi bhava, the prema at that stage, because you're born in a family of gopas and gopis. You only know Krishna. They love Krishna. You're born in the family of real bhaktas, and you're loving Krishna from your birth. It's all you know, because it's all they know, all they talk about. Then you get to see Krishna. Then you're finished. That's the last word. But in one lifetime, you got to be really, really serious about surrendering to Krishna. So it's depending on this is our freedom. Really, if you surrender to Krishna, he's definitely going to reciprocate. But how much will you surrender? The idea that you're that you'll surrender the idea of your future benefit. You've got to actually feel helpless, because that is the position of the living entity in the material energy. It's insignificant, 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair in this humongous bunch of atoms and lights and sounds. You're insignificant. We can't move one atom. So the position is actually, when you realize that insignificance, now you're a candidate. Now you're a candidate to chant the holy name and call out sincerely. So that's one reason why Krishna does that, to remove it like that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki